Hey, Tom here, FlipAnythingUSA. As usual, I'm not overly prepared, but that's okay. I usually kind of speak extemporaneously in general. Uh, so, a lot of people ask, and a lot of this is this fake guru crap, too, by the way. People telling people they need to get an LLC far before they ever need one. Let me just tell you something. You need an LLC when you have money, okay? You don't need it before you have property. You don't need it when you first begin. Uh, and a lot of times, I think that when people encourage you to get an LLC, it's because they want to sell you an LLC, not because you need one. And again, this goes back to a lot of the just scammy shit. Uh, Anyways, we're going to talk about that because there is a time when you do need an LLC, and I'm going to talk about the reasons you need one. And anybody got any questions about any of that stuff? Maybe you've already been talked into buying one you didn't need. Well, we can talk about that too. But I we'll get into all that stuff. Anything you want to talk about? I've got probably I might have 20 LLCs or LTDs. We call them limited partnerships. They're basically kind of the same. Basically the same. Really are basically the same. Very, very little difference. So we'll be right back and talk about that. It's really a perfect storm for making money in that respect. But in 1 year, his portfolio has gone from zero to $1.6 million. You really got 30, 22?
Yeah, I think I got 27, yeah.
27 properties. You got 27 properties. John, you have to buy that. That is a great property.
I just closed on 2 houses yesterday. It's worth 250. I bought that one for 170.
My first millionaire student. I don't want to screw around. I don't want to play games going back and forth. What is the absolute bottom dollar? And I'll tell you if I'm going to buy it or not. All right, so I'll tell you a story. I got sued for lifetime disability when I was 19 years old. I got sued. I just started a cabinet shop. Now I had an S corp because I was small, so I had an S corp filed. I may not even had one filed at that time. Wouldn't even have mattered, to be honest. But I didn't have anything, right? I started a business and I didn't have anything. I had the building that I just bought, so I guess I had $20,000 equity in that. But that's not much, and that's back in 1981. But I had a guy that I'd started my cabinet shop. I took my saw on the job, and actually, he asked to borrow my saw. So he borrowed my saw. I delivered the cabinets that I built. He was an installer, and he made a deal to install the cabinets with the builder. He needed a saw. I loaned him my saw. He went over there, and if you have a chop saw, you have a fence in the back, and you put the wood against it, and you turn the blade, when you're cutting 45s. Anyways, he had a bad habit of putting his finger back behind the fence on a saw that had a wide throat. Mine had a narrow throat. Put his finger back there, flipped it to the side, and zing went his fingertip. He's screaming. I'm still there. I'm looking around. I find his fingertip in the sliding glass door track. I drop it in my coffee cup, take him to the doctor, and they tossed his fingertip, sewed his nub over. And then I got sued for lifetime disability for loaning him my saw. Really chicken shit. But it's a litigious world. That's 40 years ago I got sued for lifetime disability. So it is a litigious world, and that's one of the reasons that people get LLCs and LTDs, limited partnerships, because it's a way of if you just kind of look at an LLC or a limited partnership, it has all the rights of a person. It has all the rights of a person. Can own a piece of property, so you can create this entity, and it can own property, and then you can create another one that owns property, and on and on and on. I probably have 20 of them. Now, they're also important for if you want to make your kids your partners. Listen, kids in general in the USA can't own real estate if they're under 18. Well, one of the way they can is that you can put your property into an LLC, and you can issue your kids, they can have a percentage each. So now they own a percentage of a partnership that owns the entity. It's the entity that owns the property. Now, this can be really important because let's just say you have 4 kids and they're the partners with you on this property, and a different property and maybe even another property, well, let's say one of them does something wrong, hurts somebody, or, maybe you got a criminal for a kid, or, you never know what could happen, right? Well, and we don't look like we have, is the health, hey, tell me if the stream's doing well, everybody, because I'm getting indicators that it's not, so just let me know if we're okay. But I don't know, sometimes it says that and it's working fine, but if you guys could give me a heads up on that, I would certainly appreciate it. But reasons you need it. So, I pulled up to one of my buildings not long ago, and I was looking at it, and I thought I better check, I was checking some of my paperwork. I have to do that from the bank from time to time anyways. And I looked up, and sure enough, my kids own 64% of that building. I was like, wait a minute, I don't remember them owning quite so much of this thing. But it actually was okay. And we can get into that another time. But the bottom line is, the other good thing about that sort of thing is that if you hold things in an LLC and you pass away, well, your kids already own maybe the majority of your fortune that you've created, and so there's less to pass through, your estate, which can mean there's some tax advantages to that. If you make your kids your partners early, and then those partnerships continue to make a lot of money, your kids can end up being very rich, but you still control all the money, and which is a good thing. Damn it, it's lagging. All right. We have a storm here, and that may have something to do with it. I will try one thing to help it, and then if not, I'll just have to start over. Damn it, Chris. Well, let me see here. It's such a good topic, too. Such a good topic. Okay, well, it's not lagging for some of you. So, all right, listen, I'm just going to run with it. Sometimes it comes out better when it comes back after it's run. I'm getting good stream health here now, so we'll just see what happens. But when you don't have much, and I'm saying even under $1 million, the LLC and the limited partnerships, I mean, if you have a partner, you might want to, then it's good to have a limited liability company where they have their share, you have your share. It's understood. You can even have provisions in there that if one side doesn't make their payments and do the things that they're supposed to do, then you can, by default, take their share of the property. Imagine getting into a partnership and somebody doesn't make their half of the payment, and you're going to lose the whole thing unless you make the full payment. So then you're stuck making the full payment. Well, you can have a safeguard in an LLC that if the partner isn't making their payment, you give them a warning, and if they don't make it whole and don't make it right, then you take the whole thing and they're out. And so there's a structure to those that is really important for a partnership. But as far as owning property for just yourself, it's really not necessary. Now, let me explain now. As your portfolio grows, you don't want to be you become personally liable. If you own property that you own personally, then if you get sued, you can get sued frivolously. I got sued on a frivolous charge, and I spent 3 years and several $100,000 fighting it. Now, I beat it because I didn't do anything wrong, but nevertheless, it still took hundreds of thousands of dollars. I did get all the money back, and I liquidated the guy's assets that sued me and took the money back from him. But those things happen. In fact, but you'll feel very exposed. You won't feel that exposure. If you have an LLC and you might have $100 million or more in different LLCs and that control, each one has a different building. And see, that's the other thing. You're compartmentalizing these things because just kind of look at it like cancer, right? Right now, if you get cancer, it's in your body, right? It gets in your lymphatic system and then it goes to everything, right? Well, that's kind of how what a partnership prevents. You have multiple partnerships, you're a partner in all of it, right? Just imagine a big stack of blocks, and each one owns an apartment building, a house, a commercial building. That's kind of how my portfolio is. Well, if something goes wrong, like I had a friend of mine, he had a kid not drowned, but drowned to the point of being brain dead. In other words, he went underwater, and this is a kid that wasn't really watched by his parents. They'd see the kid riding his tricycle around the yard at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, unattended in a big apartment building complex. Well, the kid ends up in a swimming pool. Somebody grabs him, saves his life, but oxygen was out for so long. Anyways, it was a bad deal. And the kid would need help for the rest of his life. And the family sued my buddy. And he had $3 million insurance, Then he had another $2 million of umbrellas. But then they were suing for $7 million. So the potential was they could take all $5 million, and if the jury gave him $7 million, he would be responsible for another $2 million out of his pocket, which was a lot of money to him. It's a lot of money, period. And it was enough to really shake him up. Well, in this situation, the insurance company said, ain't no way, because what can happen is that when you're insured by an insurance company, they don't want you to go to the other side, meaning they don't want you to jump ship and take the plaintiff's side, the person that's suing you. You can go to their side and say, you make a deal, say, hey, we'll settle for, whatever, $5 million, which is still going to cost your insurance company the full $3 million that you're insured for, or $3 million or whatever. They don't want you to become on that side. So they indemnified him over and above the $3 million that he would have to pay. And it was a good thing, because guess what? The jury awarded them the full $7 million. And if they hadn't indemnified him, he would have been stuck for that $2 million. I'm kind of getting all over the place here, but that's the importance. It gives you all the rights of a person, and so you can be like multiple people, right? In other words, you can be all these different people. You can make a deal with. You're going to be a partner with this person over here, a partner with this person here, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times, doesn't matter, 100 times. And if any one of those partnerships turns toxic, it doesn't affect everything else. So that's what I mean. If one of those partnerships goes toxic and you own it all in your name, it's kind of like cancer. You're toxic now. But if they're all individually compartmentalized, then it just keeps the cancer to that one block. So I think that's the best way to explain it. Does that sound like a good way to explain it to you guys? Let me know. And also you can let me know if you have any other questions on this stuff. But it is a very important vehicle. There was what's his name? Ray Mitten. I think Ray Mitten. I want to say Ray Mitten. Oh, maybe I'll look it up here. They used to call him the grandfather of lawsuit protection or something like that. But he was very, very heavy into this kind of protection because the world has become so litigious. People get sued over nothing. And, but what I was going to say is, for a starter investor, listen, you can have a couple $1 million worth of properties that you own outright. And main thing is you got to have insurance and have an umbrella. Okay, that's the most important thing. But I would tell you that once you got $1 million worth of stuff, or maybe even $500,000, but $1 million for sure. Once you have $1 million, go get yourself an LLC. In fact, get 2 of them. You get one and you can move your property into it. And then if you have much cash, you can move your cash into the other one. And, it's a reasonable thing to do for family planning, in as much as, you don't want to leave your family a mess when you croak. And if you already have it, how everybody gets their share of whatever you want them to have, and you can even control it. Like if I died today, my kids don't get my money. They whatever I have, they don't get it. It's kind of kept and waiting, but they get to live a life of figuring it out on their own before they ever get my money. But that's just me trying to, let them have life's lessons. So am I still with you guys? Anyways, I wanted to get that out, make sure you guys understood that. It looks like I'm chopping up on the screen. It may be much better on playback. But, hey, glad you're here, Richard Smith, all the way from Australia. Good day. Liam, if you open an LLC in Wyoming, it can be totally untraceable to you or anyone else. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what the value of that. I mean, I can understand maybe if you're in a sketchy divorce or something. But the bottom line is there's a place for them. And, if you don't want to be detected it is a good way to hide some of your wealth, I suppose, if you don't want everybody to know how much you have. I own just about everything in those types of vehicles. So, but it's really all about family. It's all about estate planning. And we've talked about that in the mentorship. So what else? Anybody got a question? Anybody got a real estate question? Fire away. I know everybody seems to be worried about the economy. Lawsuits, yeah. I mean, look, it's not going to protect you from a lawsuit. You're going to get in a lawsuit, and whatever that, but it limits the damage to you to in as much as you're only going to lose what you have invested in that entity. That's about as bad as it'll get. Shane B. wrote, any recommendations on how to name your LLC? Yeah, I have a recommendation on how not to name your LLC. Don't call it like this is Shane's. Don't call it Shane 1, Shane 2, Shane 3, Shane 4. Don't call it anything with the same name and then a 1, 2, 3, 4. The reason I say that is it becomes a bit confusing. You'll forget which entity owns what. It happens to me all the time. I do have something like that. But one of the easiest things to do, if you're going to do it on a per address, like if you have a very substantial building, just use the address of the building. So, you could have the, 121 Jump Street LLC. Just use the address of the building. That is probably the easiest and best way. But if you're going to own multiple properties in one, and that happens, like, I own 5, 6 houses, in each of my LLCs. And there's another reason for that, by the way. If you own multiple houses, let's just say, because I just did this recently too, but I probably had 6 houses, in each LLC that I had that were for the houses. And one of the advantages, let's say, I'll try to group those 5 houses in one neighborhood. Not always, but somewhat, at least in the same city. And so the advantage of that is I kind of group them in there. And then if I hold them for a few years or however long I hold them, well, now I've got some equity. I bought them right. I bought them under market. Well, then I can go to sell all of them, and I can use the profits from all of them, and I can defer all the gains from all of them to buy maybe just one big building. And I've done that several times now. And that's kind of what I do a lot of is I love houses for flipping, and I make probably the most money per deal on buying a house. And that's why you guys, listen, if you just got here, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I'm happy to share, but I've been doing this a very long time, made a lot of money doing it. And now I have a mentorship, and the people in the mentorship are making millions. They're actually making millions of dollars collectively and even individually. And you can too. And if you just got here, I should be talking more about the class. But the mentorship right now, I've got a money-back guarantee, satisfaction money-back guarantee, because that's how satisfied everybody is that's in the class. It's been in my course for a couple of years now. Got lots of renewals, and and it's wonderful. Everybody just keeps getting smarter. We're like a big money-making wealth think tank, and you can be a part of that. You can go to FlipAnythingUSA.com. Let me see if I can show you that real quick. But in the meantime, anybody got any questions on anything else? Liam wrote, can't find anything that makes sense for my 1031. Oh, I thought you were just about to look at something, damn it. Looked at a mixed-use building. The retail side looked nice, but the apartments were trash. Yeah. Hey, Garrett, glad you're in here, buddy. Garrett, did you find something to buy yet? Garrett's also in the class. Does a trust hold all the LLCs? A trust controls all the LLCs. If you set yourself up to have a trust, and that's kind of what happens is you get a trust set up. So when I die, there's like Tom McKay Trust, and it holds, it controls all the LLCs. I wouldn't say I don't want to say it owns them, but it kind of, and it can't say it really holds them, but in essence, yeah, depending on how you use the language, that's a fair way to put it. But I just don't want to misspeak, and people have different terminologies for the way they talk about things. So look, let me just do something real quick here. I'm going to take this away, and look at this is FlipAnythingUSA. You can go to my website. You can click here. You can get into the free webinar. You can get my book. If you don't have my book, get my book. That's a no-brainer. That's been a bestseller on Amazon Kindle and Audible. But what you really want to do is get in here and take this. Take the mentorship survey. You take the mentorship survey, you're going to, in essence, get a free consultation with me. And don't do it just for a free consultation, because I'm very savvy to a time burglar. But if you're genuinely interested in getting into the mentorship, and you want to be like all these people that are right here, be like these guys here, and some of the people in here that have made hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars now, then do it. And right now you can get in here. See that 72-hour money-back guarantee. Don't know of anybody. Listen, I've got more testimonials than all the fake gurus put together on YouTube, guaranteed. And you can see the satisfaction. Just look at the reviews. Urge you to do it. Hey, Clay. Clay just got in the class, and you're buying a property tomorrow? Well, damn, Clay. Somebody else wrote me, too, early about it when I said, man, I'm a little bit, actually, it was Terrace. Terrace, like I said, he'd just been in a couple days, and I said, man, you haven't been in the class long enough. You haven't learned enough yet. But from what he described, it might be a great deal. We'll see. But I'll tell you, one thing is the enthusiasm and the energy, even for me, it's infectious. I had one of the students made $700,000 last week. That was Eric. And that motivates me. Hey, Garrett, nothing yet. Well, I guess you missed your window on a 1031 then. Gus Fring, hey, Tom, what happened to Darius? Yeah, Darius went on to pursue his dream of comedy. And so you might look for him, he was going into comedy. That was kind of his passion. Good guy, fun guy to hang out with, too. Land trust versus LLC. I would stick with an LLC personally, only because I know very little about the land trust. But all I've ever really dealt with LLCs and limited partnerships, there's almost very, very little difference between them. Very little difference. They each have a little bit. They have some pros and cons, but both are fine. Yeah, but naming it, like I said, Shane, naming an LLC, just make it clear and easy to remember. I would relate it to the property that you're going to buy, or you can call it Houses LLC or something like that if it's for houses. But it'll help you distinguish between, because believe me, if you call it Shane 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, then you're going to go, wait a minute, does Shane 3 own the house on Newberry, or does Shane 4 own the house on Newberry? It's confusing. I've screwed things up that way myself. So, anyways, what else? Where are we going? Anybody going to go look at some property? Main thing, guys, is get some skills. Get some skills. There's people that, it's probably the worst thing to do is go, oh, it's a good time to buy a property. And then you go look for a property and you buy a property because you don't have the skill to buy a property yet. In other words, some people don't bother figuring it out until they need to go get it. Like you need to go buy a car. I mean, we all do our due diligence when we go buy a car. You know, you go to buy a new one, you shop the dealers, you get the best price you can. If you buy something used, then it gets a little stickier, right? You got to do a Carfax, make sure it hasn't been wrecked or come out of a flood area where all electronics have been underwater. It becomes more like that with real estate. It's a little bit more like buying a used car. And so it's important that you be very careful and you do things right. And Liam wrote, well, Liam, I will take a peek at it, but I'd rather you share that to me by text. But we'll take a look at it. It sounds like you're done. Like you definitely aren't into that one. But all right. Look, I'm gonna give you a touch of the rap real quick, and then I'll be right back, and we'll finish up.
Stop and listen. Time is on a mission to eliminate all the snake oil and the fake gurus that fake y'all. They'll show you how to build an empire, starting with nothing but a desire. All you really need is a good mentor, not a used car bullshit. With time, you'll learn to crush it. Investing like Warren Buffett. With real estate, you cannot procrastinate. Everyone who hesitates is left at the starting gate. Hey, yo, so don't delay. Enjoy today the mentorship and flip anything. USA, go.
And by the way, I wrote that song. Anyways, what else you got? Anybody nervous? Garrett, are you looking at apartments? You sold those apartments with the crappy terrace. Did they ever fix that? Have you been around there to see what they've done? See how they fixed up? Garrett's an active entrepreneur. He's actually one of the first people who sent me one of his checks that he made. He made $25,000. And then he took some of that money and joined the class. And he just keeps running with it. Clay, don't share too much on here. Certainly don't put the address down like Liam did. But I think he doesn't care about it. You want to take a look at it? We'll go look at it. If you want Liam, I'll pull it up right now. Is it on LoopNet? It doesn't sound like you're sold on it. I'm not going to bring it up unless you say so. Anybody got a property? Anybody got a property you want to look at? I'll bring it up right now, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. I'll tell you whether you should sell it or keep it or what I can discern by looking at it. Some people ask me, hey, should I buy this? And I'm like, man, you know how much time I have to put into a property to make a determination of whether somebody should buy it or not? It's a lot of work. It's not something I take lightly, and it's not something I do for free, that's for sure. Listen, it takes time. Listen, one of the people, somebody said this to me a long time ago, Tom, you're one of the few people I've seen that can just walk into a property knowing exactly what it's worth, and make a decision to buy it like that. And that's true. That is me. And it is even, and when you get that down really well, even for your own particular area, it's still, you have so many basic fundamentals that are built into you that are so good that you can quickly figure out what things are worth in other areas much quicker than you would imagine. All right, what else you got there? I'm looking. Liam wrote, yes, okay. Real quick, Ben wrote, if a property has too much rehab costs and zone commercial, would it be better to level it? It's expensive. Ben, that's, again, should you level it and build condos? It just depends on where it is. I guarantee you, there's some areas where it's more profitable to build condos than it is to build commercial. I can tell you right now, I have properties that I bought on a fairly busy thoroughfare that my intention was to turn them into commercial and office. In fact, I built some commercial and office on this thoroughfare. In fact, I'll show it to you. I'll go to that and show it to you, and then we'll run over and we'll look at Liam's thing. So we're going to jump on Google Earth here real quick. But yeah, Ben, it just depends. You got to it's all numbers, man. That's the beauty of real estate in this business and making money, is it's all math. It's just math. It really is. It's just math. I love numbers. They don't lie. You're looking at another property Private message. Okay, yeah, I can maybe look at a private message there, Clay. Sure. All right, so look, I'm going to jump over to Google Earth. Where's Google Earth? Okay, well, here we go. What was I start? Oh yeah, I'm going to show. I'll show. This is a good lesson, actually. I'm going to show you something. This is a good lesson. So sometimes you can buy property, and you can convert it to office, and sometimes it's in a really good area where you can do something like that. So I'm going to show you an area like that. So let me get my bearings here. All right. So this is an area. This is a major thoroughfare. It's got 5 streets. Great neighborhood. Very affluent area. It's a good place to live. And this thoroughfare takes you to all the little arteries that go into other places. And you'll see like there's a house right here that got converted into being a dentist office. Actually, this is a place I built. This is 16,000 square foot building. Again, this was a house. So this kind of goes to what Clay was asking about. So, but there's a lot to this. It's good information. So like we'll go down here. So now this is a place I built, I don't know, 18, 20 years ago, something like that. And you can see big, beautiful limestone building. I think you can see that. And we'll go back in the sky. And then here next to me, this was a beauty, and I missed it just barely. Look at this square right here. It goes like this. This was the Jewish Community Center. And as soon as I saw it was for sale, I ran over there. And unfortunately, it was already signed up. A UT professor's wife wanted it. And now it's the Asian Community Center. In fact, she wasn't very happy when I came over there and I offered her more than she paid for it. She's like, "You want to steal my dream?" And I go, "No, I just want to steal your property." Anyways, but she didn't like me even being interested in her property. She made that very clear. So let's see. Oh yeah, back to the office stuff. Is that done here? I'm dragging a line around. But again, this is an area where these houses made sense to convert to office when I first started looking at the area. In fact, I'll show you a property. I think I talked about this one the other day. This is a beauty. Yeah, actually, this one I drove around the other day and showed you guys. Real quick, this is such a cool one. Is that it? Oh, yeah, it's down here. Yeah, this is a cool one. This is a property I bought for $120,000, and I sold it for I think $265 or $280. This little guy right here. So that's a 3-week deal. $160,000 in 3 weeks. I showed this the other day. I did a live, but you didn't see that. And listen, this is why it's so important. It's these kinds of experience. And, believe me, I probably bought, I don't want to exaggerate, but maybe 25 properties, that you could almost throw a rock and just keep throwing a rock, and I could keep hitting them. It goes back to my real estate barbell thing I tell you about. But anyhow, let's go back to what we were talking about. Liam, you want to look at something? Give me the address. I'll type it in, buddy. Go ahead. I think you already gave it to me again. Let me see. 203 Brindley. Let's try it. Meanwhile, anybody else got a question, just throw it in there, and I'll get to it. Let's see. Just keep in mind, you may lose this deal. Is that Bradley Beach? Yep. All right, so we're going to hop over to New Jersey and take a look at this property. Well, boy, that's kind of near the sand, bud. Is that pretty popular? Damn, dude. I'm already not wanting to show this anymore. All right, let's look at something else. We're gonna save that one. That one actually looks interesting to me. I'll look at that one with you later. Let's not do it here. It looks too good. I mean, I will if you want to. Anthony Padilla. Hi, Tom. I currently turned 18. Interested in investing in real estate. I have $50K and can partner with my father, who is a small-time landlord. With this, I am able to get into the mentorship. Listen, if you got 50 grand, listen, I'm not crazy about young guys coming in, but it's hard for me to feel that way because I bought my first property when I was 19 years old. But I'll tell you what, if you got your father's blessing and, you know, he's going to help you, or maybe you guys can kind of take it together, and that's fine. If you want to kind of take it together, then I would say do it for sure. But if you're just going to go, I don't want to do it without your dad's blessing. So with your dad's blessing, it'd probably be okay. But if you told me you had, $2,000, I would tell you no. But since you have $50,000, you definitely are in a position you can do better. All right, Liam, we got to save that one. I'll look at that one with you later. Let's see. What else? Cryptic, remember? Friend said build a dental office in a small town. Yeah, Ben, it's not cheap to build right now. It's expensive to build right now. And I'll tell you, it's a pain in the ass to build right now. In general, just all the cities got so much bureaucracy, so much horseshit. And believe me, a lot of these cities haven't even opened up. They're doing everything through email. Everybody else got a job. Everybody is, working the counters and stuff like that. But they're like, oh, no, we can't have anybody in the building. It's just an excuse not to go to work for some of them. But it really pisses me off. And I don't know, in this stupid town I'm in, the council just gave themselves a 40% raise. How's that? Give yourself 40% raise. They've done a shit job for 8 years. So it's ridiculous. They're like, they haven't earned it. Let me just put it that way. But, all right. Well, look, come on. Any other questions here? Otherwise, I'll wrap it up. Okay, now look at 92 Main Street. We'll take a look. Mattawan. All right, we're going to go look at another property. What is this, a multi-unit? We can tell you, I guess you guys get some snow there. Yep. Looking at the pitch on that roof. So it's got a little bit of parking, and then it's got some street parking. Yeah, I don't love the parking. I can say that right now. So this is one you're considering? The rents make sense? And if I'm getting too hard to understand, let me know, because it's sure showing some errors here. Yeah, so Anthony, like I said, chat with your dad or fill out the mentorship survey, and I'll give you a call. Like I said, there's not a better way to get rich than real estate, and it's the only thing the bank will loan you money on. They'll loan you 90%. Parking is tight. Yep, I can see that, which is not great. It brings in a total of $7,500 a month between how many units? closing some windows here because I'm hoping it improves our bandwidth here. $7,500 a month. Look, it looks like a clean community. I don't know. See, I like this commercial stuff. Have you looked over here? See, that's what I want right there, man. That's what you want. A clean little town like this. Papa Ganache. Guess that's a bakery. See, to me, this stuff can be gold here. Look, I have 2 gyms and several dance studios. A little karate place or jiu-jitsu place. Knickerbocker Hospital. Barbershop. Yeah, this is like Mayberry RFD, right? Little piece of America right there. I like it. Little boutique place. Got some outdoor seating. Physical therapy. Yeah, we'll have to talk, Liam. I like this little town. I do. It's clean, man. Look at that. Look at that. No trash, no bums, no panhandlers. Nobody trying to wash your window for a dollar or a cigarette. Looks pretty good to me. Anyways, again, sure to get my book, folks. Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. Be the best $10-20 you ever spend. FlipAnythingUSA. You go to go to my website, FlipAnythingUSA, and check it out when you get a chance. And I think we will wrap it up. And I appreciate you hanging out. And any questions, just throw them under the comments, and we'll cover it maybe tomorrow. We'll see you later.